live. We're in the 259D3 Caterpillar. I'm going to set the rototiller. We're on Snail, and it's got 20 speed settings. I got it at 9. It seems to work the best. And then we got to tilt this thing a little bit forward. It's over 70 horsepower, this machine, but it takes all the horsepower to get through this long grass. And bear with me. Stop. See when it stops like that? I think I bumped the button. If you hold that on, and this stops flashing. You got that button. This button sets it so it'll run steady. Without that on, it just runs for a few seconds until you let go of the button. So. It's a high flow. This is a hydraulic rototiller. So you see those two hoses. It's just driven by oil, so you can run it forward or backwards. There's no other linkage, no other connection to the just liquid running in. So. Hydraulic oil. Yeah, that's right, too high. You gotta play a lot with the joysticks because as the ground changes, this rototiller comes up off the ground. And if you're too deep, it stops. It won't. See, it stops it. It won't turn. Not enough horsepower. If the grass was cut, this would work a lot better. And I'll show you in a few minutes. I'll lift it up and you can see right underneath. I don't normally do live videos, but I've done a few now, and I haven't done any. I've been working so many hours last 3 weeks. Actually, all summer. There's no time to do any videos. I started at 8 o'clock Saturday and Sunday at home, doing my stuff at home. And we finish at 9:30. Actually, Saturday night it rained at 7:30, so I got soaking wet. I went in the house. You can see it's blocked right there. Crank this thing right to the max. We need all the power. It's running at 2,500 RPMs, and still it stops it. So I'm pretty sure if this grass was cut, it would be way easier to do this. There's the RPMs right there. Gotta keep an eye on everything here because Friday, and it burns fuel by doing this. Still, we filled it up at 11 o'clock in the morning, and by 4:30 I was at I still was above half. I was around 5/8 of a tank, I guess. Yeah, this is the tough part, getting through this. How long that lasts. That line right there, I think that's the green right there. This is the fairway. Pretty sure. Can't tell though. Maybe not. Maybe not. There's two bunkers over there on the left side of me. I started at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, finished at 9:30 last night. At home, trying to get things back in shape. We have quite a few acres, and because such a wet summer, we're way behind. Grass has got long. A lot of trees. I've been burning brush for I think 6 of the last 9 days. Branches and wood, logs, tornadoes. I'm pretty sure that we're on the green right now. The old green. Comment if you're watching, because I'm not sure if I've got the comments turned on or not. I hope I do. There's a whole bunch of settings you gotta go through. This is a rubber track skid steered. I think it'll go anywhere. Get stuck though. I got it stuck. Nobody believed it would get stuck, but I proved that it can get stuck, and I did everybody a favor because they were gonna send a bulldozer in there, the next week, right where I was. So everybody's making fun of me that I got stuck. Well, I did everybody a favor. Got so much rain, May, June, July. I think there's 6 bulldozers, and then only 2 of them, I think 2 or 3 were working last week, every day. Because it's too wet. I think it was 14 feet of water in one of the places they had to work. They had, I think, 4 or 5 pumps pumping the water out of there. Holy Jesus. So the idea is they're going to push this sod into a pile and remove all the topsoil underneath. So about 11-12 inches of topsoil is coming off here. This is a fairway. An old fairway they're going to build houses on. See, there's houses over there on the left. They're actually apartment buildings. So this will be houses, probably apartment buildings. But they're going to reuse this topsoil on the new course that we're building. So this sod will be smeared around and just pushed around on top of the fill that's here underneath, whatever soil's underneath, clay, or I think there's a lot of shale around where we are. So there's shale and then limestone down deep. So only a thin layer of soil on the surface, maybe about 3-4 feet. Maybe less than that, I don't know. Anyway, so once the topsoil's all gone, I'll just push the piles of sod back, spread them around a little bit, and then leave it for the builders. We're going to use the topsoil on the fairway. We're building 2 holes right now this summer. Sorry about the shaky camera work, but I'm trying to operate 2 joysticks here. It's not like when I was doing the power raking. There's a power raking video. I think that's the last live video. No, maybe I did a couple. I did some welding on the bleachers live. Back in either end of May or beginning of June, I did a live video power raking. There's a power raking attachment we rented for this same machine, and we did all the cart paths to remove the potholes. So that's a pretty neat attachment. crushed stone dust. That's the old cart path right there. So the golfers would have driven their golf carts down that path, and then I think the tee was at the other end of where we are right now, and the hole's up here, so all a thing of the past now. So it'll be all houses, and probably in 2 or 3 years, this will be all houses. Slowly, that used to be part of the course over there. Far side, there's houses. On this closer end here, there's apartment buildings. There's 8 units for each block. It stops. It's just, that long grass is really just 70 something horsepower on this. It just doesn't have enough power to get through that. And I'm only going over it once because it doesn't really matter what it looks like. It's just the bulldozers have just as hard a time with this sod as this machine here is having right now. What happens is either you go too deep or it rides on top. The blade jumps up on top and then you're skimming across the top. So by rototilling it, you're able to scrape off the sod and make piles. Just makes the blade penetrate that 1.5 to 2 inches that you need to. And the rototiller is the same kind of idea. It has a hard time going not too deep. It either wants to go really deep or rides on top. So I'm using my wrong hand right now. So shaky camera work today. There, I'll show you what. There's the blades. So I can change direct. Oh shit! There's a wire on there. Yeah, that's the wire for the irrigation. I'll have to get out and take that off. If it's on the middle, it doesn't really matter, but so I'm using it. The blades are turning forward, but it'll work both ways. It'll work this way too, but I find it works better if turning forward like this. I think there's carbide on those blades. Like carbide penetrated into the metal. See it? You can see it right there. Yeah, that little line. I don't know if I can zoom in. Yeah, right there. Those 2 little rows of on the front and the back of that blade. That's carbide. It's like baked into the. I don't know how it's. Do it, but when it was new, you could really see it. Okay, let's get this thing back down. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go make another pass. I have to get out and take that wire off eventually. So you can let go now. It stays running until I touch that button again. Bring the RPMs right up. It's at 1100. Full power. Grass is really tough to get through. So this is you can go right down to 1 with this. I think I'm riding on top of the grass right now. Yep. Yeah, we're gonna 6. Oh, down. There you go. There's another fairway to do too, but not going to be done yet. They're going to set up a screener here. And this topsoil is going to be screened right on site here. And then we move it to the other fairway and spread it around. I really don't think the golf course is saving any money by reusing this soil. I think it'd be smarter just to sell it. And believe it or not, it ends up costing them as much or more to do it the way we're doing it, because paying me to do this, then we got to pay bulldozers to scrape the sod off, and then we got to pay excavators to pile it up in a windrow, and then we got to get a screener in here and feed the screener, and then transport it over to the other course. It has to be done, traveled by road, so you can't even use an off-road machine, which can carry double what they can on the road. So if there was a way to get it from here to the fairway we're working on off-road, you can use those off-road machines. They can carry 40 yards, I think 40 or 50 cubic meters. So a triaxle, a 12-wheeler can only carry about 20 tons now, 20 metric tons. They've reduced the amount of weight they're allowed to carry because these trucks destroy the roads. So the last number of years they've just kept reducing the weight they're allowed, to the point now where a tandem used to carry close to 20 tons. I think it was like 17.5, 18 tons, and now that's a triaxle. That's a 12-wheeler, which used to be able to carry 24, 25 tons. Now they're down to 20. So I don't know how many loads will be here. There's going to be probably 70 truckloads, maybe 75. I don't know. It's hard to say. We'll know when we're done. Probably do 20 loads a day, so it's 3.5, 4 days transporting this stuff. After it's screened, it's pretty labor intensive doing this. All golf courses are not very environmentally friendly. You think they're green, they're nice, trees and grass and everything's green, but huge carbon footprint. Finish line up there. You can see that line. I think you can see it. I don't know. There. You see kind of a line. I'm almost done. Probably an hour and a half I'll be done. And there's a little spot to do down below over there. The bulldozer's coming tomorrow, or either tomorrow or Wednesday. Good at 6. I should have had it down to 6 earlier. I was trying to run it at 8 and it just kept stopping. So it's been an interesting summer. Lots of rain, hot up till now. So the last 3 days have been very, very nice and comfortable temperatures, around 70, 75 in the morning, 80, 85 late afternoon. Not humid at all. The humidity's gone. time last week was up in the hundreds. 40 something Celsius with the humidex. So 100 and something with the humidex, about 85, 90. And then it's very humid here in the summer. All the rain we're getting is just make the humidity. It must be close to 100%. You put your t-shirt on in the morning and it feels like it just came out of the washing machine. It didn't go in the dryer at all. So. Here probably would take a couple hours to cut all this grass, but it probably would have speeded up the rototilling by more than a couple hours. Would have been worth. I think it would have been worth it. You'd have to go over it twice with the mower. And this is a golf course, so they have a lot of mowers. They could send a big mower over here. Up till last year they were using it as a hole, so. Yep, another day, no more dollars. Out of snail and can actually move normal speed here. Too much. I think this is around 72, 74 horsepower. 4-cylinder Kubota diesel. Turbo diesel. It's below the DEF. It doesn't have DEF in it, but diesel emission fluid there. So I think that's what DEF stands for. I'm not sure. So we don't have to put any DEF in it, but whatever that horsepower limit is, it's just below. It must be 74 horsepower and 75. You have to have DEF in it. Bulldozers, backhoes, everything has DEF in this country. I don't know about everywhere else in the world, but the new machines all have DEF, and if it's above, I think it's 75 horsepower. I can't remember. Pretty sure. So he's blocking right up. It's not clearing up. I'm gonna get out, pull that wire off there. Hard to do because I have to get out. To get out this thing here, this has to be below the door right here, or the door won't open. Well, I could do it when it's way up in the air. I might do that. I'll do it way up high. I'm gonna pull that wire off because I think that's what's making that side clump up. And I can't tilt it too far forward because it almost gets tight. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Just give me a little pause. You're not going to see anything for a minute or two, but we'll put the lock, the brake, open the door. Nothing works when you open the door. The machine will not. No hydraulics work, so I can't drop it on my head or anything. So Yeah, you're not supposed to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. It does leak down, so you gotta give yourself a little bit of space. This thing will actually drop down and push on the door, and then you won't be able to close the door. It's kind of crazy. The new machines, they don't make this one anymore. The new machines now have a different thing up here. You can have your thing up in the air. You can have the front bucket up in the air a little bit, and the door will open. So, okay, let's go and do that. See if I can do this with the camera in my hand. Yeah, there's quite a bit of wire there. It's clumping right up right here, and that's the wire that's doing that. Okay. So the whole irrigation system's all run off one wire, believe it or not. And it's this blue wire, and then it sends a radio signal, some sort of, I don't know, not radio, but it's a signal through the wire, and also the wire does power the solenoids to turn on and off the irrigation. Pretty state of the art. So a signal goes to it, and it knows which one has to turn on or off. And all through, there's only two wires, no ground wire. Just this red wire and the black wire, and that's it. It's pretty amazing. So each little solenoid, there's two solenoids on each sprinkler head. One turns on and off the water, and the other one, what the hell does the other one do? I can't remember. I think there's two. It's pretty. There's $700 each of those sprinkler heads. So I don't know where I'm gonna put this. So I'll pick it up and bring it with me when I go out. I don't think the bulldozer's gonna want to hit that either. So that's it. That's carbide right there. It's like impregnated in the metal. Otherwise, these teeth would be all worn right off in no time. And then you got this massive gearbox and hydraulic motor on this end down here. It's pretty big, I think. It's probably hot as hell. It's warm. There's another. It's not very old. I think it's a year old. And these hoses. It's set. We could probably need to raise. We need to put it on this setting here. This is going too deep. See, that's your depth right there. We need to only go about 1.5 inches. Okay, let's get back in. We'll keep going, but you can see the job it does. It's pretty good. I'll pile right up. See. And then I think I missed. See, it rides on top some places, and you can't feel it. So I'll come back. Maybe I'll come back and do this if I have time. This section just skipped on top. Because the rototiller in front of me, I can't really see. But most places, it's all done quite well. All right, let's get back to work here. Yeah. You're not supposed to walk underneath a loader in the air, but I don't have a choice. I don't know if you can tell, but I left myself quite a bit of room there. I remember one time I was working on the, that's a quick attach. It's a hydraulic quick attach, and it gets blocked up with dirt and especially sand. If the bucket doesn't get taken off for like a long period of time, 2-3 weeks or a month, and a lot of mud and sand packs in there, it will not work properly, and you got to clean it all out. So I had it up one time, and I was cleaning everything out so it would work again with no bucket on it. it came down and it was touching the door. So it leaks down. So I think, and the only way you need two people to, that's the only thing I hate about these skid steers is you need two people to do anything on this thing. You need someone sitting inside the machine, moving it around, and another guy cleaning out the, see a farm tractor or something, you just reach up and grab the joystick and position it wherever you want, walk out to the front. Not this thing, you can't reach inside. This has got mesh here. The door has to be closed for the hydraulics to work. So someone has to be inside. And when the quick attach is working, it's great. When it doesn't work, it's a nightmare. Because we use the forks a lot. You can't get them on, you can't get the bucket off. You see, right now I can't open the door. That's it. Has to be right down. If you ever ran out of fuel with this, you'd have to phone somebody to come and put fuel in it. Because the operating height on this rototiller is up here, and there you can't get out. There's no way on earth I could get out of here right now. So if it ran out of fuel like this, which, you know, you gotta use your head a little bit, there is an escape door out the back. So if you pull on this tag right here, this back window comes out, you can get out there, but you can't get out the sides. This mesh is there for a reason, so you don't stick your arm out there and chop your own arm off with these loader arms. Okay, let's fire this baby up. We're rototilling sod on a golf course. The bulldozers are coming. At least one bulldozer's coming either tomorrow or Wednesday, and it's going to pile up this sod and this debris. It's a waste product, and then we're going to remove. They'll push. I think the bulldozers are going to push up the topsoil into windrows, and then an excavator is going to put this. Bump the butt there. Yeah, it's blocked up. That's where it is. So the excavator is going to put the topsoil through the screener. And then the screen topsoil will be moved to the other part of the course, the other fairway. So quite the process. At $300 a load for topsoil now. I can see why they're doing this, but I don't know if they're saving any money really. I really don't. It might be. Good weather for this. To screen this, we need dry weather, and it's been raining every 3 days all summer. So soaking wet topsoil cannot be screened. We'll go through a screener. I don't think it will. They're using a drum screener. So it's not one of those piano string type of screeners. It's a big drum. It rotates. Screen topsoil fall through it, goes up into, on one conveyor belt goes one way, and I think the rock comes out the other end. It kind of tumbles out the other end. Stones. So it only screens down to about maybe 1/4 inch. I don't think it can screen finer than that, but I'm not an expert on screening or anything. I know that the piano string, the vibrating screeners, work way better than those drum screeners. You can spot a drum screener from a mile away because it's a great big round drum and it turns. It rotates around steady, one direction. And then you put your topsoil in, and then it's a two-way screener. Those vibrating screeners, you can have like you can buy I've seen 4-way screeners. So it'll screen like sand 4-inch stone, 2-inch stone, and then screened sand, like 3 different piles. You know, up to 2-inch, anything bigger from 2 to 4-inch in another pile, and then the screened sand and mortar sand. Actually, not mortar sand, but screened sand, and then it may even you may even be able to buy screeners that wash the sand, and that's mortar sand when it's washed. They wash all the silt out of it, and then that's the most expensive sand you can buy is mortar sand around here. Wire wrapped around on the right side for about 15-20 minutes. It kept blocking up right there. So it would pack. I think it would get trapped in that wire and it wouldn't come out. So I had to stop, pull it out. I don't know, I thought I'd share my day with what you guys are up to. Guys, I should say, not with what you guys are up to. I have no way of knowing what time it is. Live video, you can't see what time it is on your phone. My watch broke, fell off my wrist, I lost it. Okay, I like having a wristwatch. So I estimated this would take 3 hours. I don't know, you know what time it is. I have to take it off snail mode here. 8:34 a.m. Yeah, it's 8:34. An hour and a half. I think I'm going to be done in less than 3 hours. I don't know if I'll do a 3-hour live video, but anyway, I'll keep going for a few more minutes. Get absolutely nobody watching, but you know what? People come back and they watch. They skip through and watch this. There's a lot of, I don't know. It's a pretty boring video. If I didn't do a live video like this, I'd be nothing on my channel right now. So. Like I said, I worked. We had the wettest spring we've ever had for about 5-6 years. Anyway, I think 2017 was the last time it rained a lot like this. It just rains every 3 days. Lots of rain. So I cut grass last night, the first time I could actually walk on that piece of property. And blocked up. Usually by now the ground is all hard and dry, but got some wet spots. Can't drive the backhoe anywhere on my property really. Sink. I went to Kentucky for 2 weeks in April. I think it was the end of April, beginning of May. And when I got back, you know what happens around here is you can't do anything all winter. The ground's frozen. So when we went away, that was right when the big rush comes. You go from doing nothing to do to too much to do. Back storm went through, knocked a bunch of trees down. I cleaned those trees up. Not that many trees, maybe about 4 or 5 small trees, a couple of big ones. So, but I found that we're like just seemed to be way behind. Lots of work, too much work to do, and not enough time to do it. Anyway, and then even up till now, I'm still trying to catch up from stuff. I cleared a bunch of trees that fell down like 4 or 5 years ago. Spent the whole day yesterday doing that. That's working. I got it tilted more, a little too far forward, but what it's doing is it's not it's blocking now. Look at that. Big chunk of sod. It's not blocking up as much. It's not going as deep. It just doesn't have the horsepower to go any deeper in it. I think it should have been adjusted so that it's not the shallowest setting. It takes all 70 horsepower to do this. Yeah, another boring video, but anyway, if you're thinking about buying one of these rototillers, just to give you an idea of what it could do. I think it's a year and a half. It's probably 2 years old now. Pretty sure 2 years old. Doesn't get used very much. I think for the cost of buying it, it's kind of a waste. You should just rent one. I would rent one rather than own one. I believe it was $8,000 to buy this, and that was, like I said, a year and a half, 2 years ago. The price has probably gone up, like everything has. It's probably $10,000 now. And for the 8 to 15, 20 hours a year of use, if we're using it every 3 weeks, I'd say, yeah, it's good that we own it. Power rate is nice. It's $20,000. Double the price of this. So we rent that machine. That attachment's rented. It would work on sod too. But we have this, so we're using this. I'd like to see how well that power rate would work on sod. I think it might actually work better than this, but it's I don't have any experience using it on it. We only use it on stone dust, crushed stone. So far, I haven't used it on sod. It would have been neat to try and test it out on this when we did have it, but take one pass and see how it works. Because you can spin this both ways, you can actually unblock it like a regular 3-point hitch rototiller on a farm tractor. It only turns one way. It's blocked up right now. See that? Might need a piece of wire in there. I don't think so. No. It's just so long this grass right here. I think the guys that work at the golf course went around and removed all the irrigation, the sprinklers. They didn't remove the wire that I had wrapped around here earlier. It's from the irrigation. They didn't take the wire out, and the pipe is all still down there. But the sprinkler heads are $700 each. So they took. I think they took them all out. They dug them all up and took them out. So you'll see an odd hole here and there, and that's what it is. I don't know if they dug by hand or used the backhoe or what they did. They tried to. They didn't try. They took them all out, and they'll use them somewhere. Probably would have been 15 or 20, so that's like $15,000 in sprinkler heads. $700 each, so 10 of them would be $7,000. 20 would be $14,000 for the sprinkler heads. That's not the pipe, that's not wire, just the actual heads. See, I think the golf course is just a money pit. Everything's expensive like that. Just crazy expensive. Alright, we're at the 47-minute mark. Got a few people watching. Not too many. Straight ahead now, you can actually see really well. You can see the houses being built. Those houses closest to us here, the apartments on the right, are less than a year old. I think they weren't. The foundations were probably there last year this time. I can't remember now. Pretty sure foundations. There was no framing, and now I think they're just like, it looks like they're ready to be moved in. But the houses down there, you got the peaked roof. I'll zoom in for you. I'll just stop for a second. Take a little break. See those peaked roofs down there? Those are flat roofs. See, those are the apartments. Those shoe boxes. Brand new apartment buildings. About 12 or 16, I don't know how many pre-built buildings. And then those are houses over there. Townhomes. And then across the street, you can see the houses with the valleys there. You can just barely see them. Those houses were, the price for one of those as a townhome, they're attached, I think was $800,000, $900,000 2 years ago, year and a half, 2 years ago. So I'm telling you, the price of a house doubled in the last 6 years around here. That same house for sale in 2018, 2019 would have been $350,000, $400,000. Now they're $800,000. And that's, I don't know what's caused that. I don't understand how a price of a house could go up that much. Maybe they were just extremely low, the prices 6 years ago. I don't know what these must be condos. I would imagine they're condos. I don't know. So a condo would be, each unit's owned by somebody. So you can own one unit, you can own the whole building, or if there's 12 units, you could have 12 different owners. I would imagine they're condos. So it's an investment property for most people. They just buy one of these condos and use the rent would be rent income. So, and then you hope that the value goes up of the house, the property, the unit. So, or you can live in it too. You can buy it and live in it. If you travel a lot, that's really a smart idea to own a condominium, because no grass to cut, no snow removal to do, and all the exterior maintenance is all done in your condo fees. So it might be, could be $500 a month for condo fees. I don't know. All right, let's get back to work here. And I'm not going to get too political here, but I think that I'm not too happy about the price of houses going up like that, because I think we're a border town here. Like, I wouldn't say we're a border town, but we're less than an hour and a half from the U.S. border. And I think the price of a home in the U.S. less than 2 hours from here is not $800,000, $900,000 for a small townhome. And this is a satellite city here. We're not downtown here. This is across the river is downtown, capital of the country. And those houses, that same house over there that I just showed you for $800,000, downtown Ottawa, would be $1.6 million probably, or more. A little house about 1,200, 1,500 square feet, not very big. No garage. Very small lot, like 30 by 60, 30 by 80 feet lot. I don't know. 1.6 million. Maybe even more than that. 1.8 million. You know what? I have two sons, and I don't think either one of them are very discouraged by the price of housing, because if you saved a couple $100,000 6 years ago, that would have paid for 2/3 of a house. And now, that same $200,000 with interest wouldn't even cover half of the house. Less than half. It's more like a quarter. So your $200,000 is worth way less now than it was 6 years ago. Anyway, let's get this machine back going here again. We're going to finish this today. Bring the RPMs up. I think it's still blocked up. Let's have a look here. I think it's just the grass is so long that it's just packing right in. Look at that. That won't come out. So I don't want to get too political, but I think that there's blame on the government, I think, for that, because I think what they've done is just let too many people in the country, and it's created a shortage of housing. And it's driven the price of housing up, maybe artificially. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but if our own kids can't buy a house anymore, and it's the same goes for, my parents bought a house in the 1960s, 1969 I think they bought it, 1968 they bought a house for $12,000. So I get it, you know, the housing goes up. So now that house is probably worth $400,000 or $500,000. But I mean, 6 years ago, that house was worth less than $250,000. I don't know. Wish I could understand a little more, but I think if this happened down in the U.S., it would stop. So something would change really quick. And nothing's changing here. There's still a shortage of housing. The prices of housing are still kind of, they stopped going up. You see, they tended to stop going up because the interest rates went way up. I mean, to me, they're not even up that high interest rate now. I think it was at 6% or 5 point something percent. When I bought my house in 1993, my first house, I think, I can't remember 100%, but I'm pretty sure the interest rates were at 9%. So 9% is a lot higher than 6%. Maybe that's what we need, interest rates going up to 9%, and then it would stop for people from taking on big mortgages. It was such a 3% was the interest rate a couple of years ago. 3, I think. I don't know, I'm not an expert. It's really low. So you could borrow $800,000, 3%. It's not a huge interest amount of interest on your house. But when it jumped to 6%, double the interest. So people were, everybody was saying a couple of years ago, when the interest rate went up, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, inflation and it all goes together. So you can buy a boat or a skidoo or an RV or really cheap a couple of years ago because people were selling that stuff off to pay their mortgage. They weren't used to making a huge interest payment on their house. Holy Jesus, thing's blocking up steady. Anyway, we're coming up on the hour. Maybe I'll end the video in an hour. At 1 hour. Lots of stuff to talk about. I bought the, oh yeah, I can tell you something. It's totally blocked right now. It won't even move. So I bought, what I did was I have a Ryobi. It's like home gamer stuff. When I built my house in 2004, that's 10 years ago this year, we started in, we couldn't get the building permit until the very end of summer. They said, oh, it's only like 3 weeks to get a building permit. Ended up, it was 12 weeks. The day I picked up the building permit, I said, if I were to apply for another building permit today, how long would it take? I said, oh, 2 to 3 weeks. I said, I don't know, why are you telling me this? Because I'm just getting my building permit now, and it's been 12 weeks. I was not upset. I said, why do you tell people that? Why don't you say 11 or 12 weeks? So anyway, when I did get my building permit, because we were spending a lot of money building a house, I was looking at those, I think back then they didn't have a 20 volt system, but I was looking at the wall, the set that you could pay $700 and get a Sawzall circular saw, cordless drill, an impact driver, and maybe a flashlight or something, I can't remember, for like $700. And the Ryobi set was like $350 or something, $375 or something. So I bought the Ryobi set. As I thought, we're spending a lot of money building a house. We should just be careful and not waste money on tools and stuff like that. I did not have a big complete set. I didn't have the Sawzall. I didn't have the cordless circular saw. And I knew the house was not going to have electricity for quite a while. You have to get to a certain point before Hydro will hook you up for electricity. So the building permit came out in October. I think the roof went on in December. And the power was hooked up. We get on a waiting list. Your electrician has to install a panel and put the mast on the house, and then apply for a permit for Hydro to come and hook you up. So everything was done, and we got on the waiting list. And I think they said, they gave us a date, like I think it was January 17th or something like that. Might have been the 21st, I can't remember. It's 20 years ago now. But it was well into January. It wasn't the first or second week of January. It was the third week, around the third week of January. And I mean, this is Canada here. We're talking winter Canada. By then we had the house somewhat insulated and some vapor barrier up, but we were trying to heat this house with no electricity. So I had propane tanks in the basement. I had propane 100-pound tanks. I bought this cheap 2-burner propane heater. I still have it. It's like those little heaters you can buy that they look like a little satellite dish, and they glow in the center. They radiate heat. So I looked at propane pigs. The construction pig. They can put out like 400,000 or 500,000 BTUs of heat, and they would burn a 100-pound cylinder at low in about a day and a half. I thought, Jesus, man, it's like back then. I can't remember what it cost for the propane, but it wasn't cheap either. It wasn't dirt cheap. So plus I had to bring these 100-pound cylinders there every 2 days. I'd probably get 2 or 3 at a time. So I thought, maybe I'll just buy myself a little propane heater. I bought the heater, hooked it, but because it had no hose, it hooks directly it's made to hook to a 20-pound cylinder. So if you go ice fishing or hunting or whatever, you can set this thing up, and if you're working on your car in an unheated garage, you can put that in there and point it at yourself. It'll radiate heat right on you. That kind of thing. It's not really meant for construction. Heat your house in a construction situation, but that's what I use it for. First of all, I didn't have to rent it, and it was at maximum. If I set it at high, it was going to burn half as much propane as these pigs. So it would last 3 days. I think it lasted 3 to 4 days. I can't remember anymore. It's been so long. And the construction company the foundation company that did the foundation lent me these insulating blankets. So before the house was insulated, we had these all over the main floor, and we're just heating the basement in December. As soon as it got cold in December, I think it was about halfway through December, it was above zero. It was an unusually warm fall, winter, and when the temperature dropped, I turned that propane on, and we had those blankets. I had a sheet of plastic over where the stairs go to the basement. There's no stairs at that time. There's no cement floor in the basement, so I had a sheet of plastic and a stapler. I would just staple. I'd pull the plastic off. I had a ladder there. Go down the ladder. I think I'm riding right on top. I'm not rototilling right now, so I'll back up and do this again. Yeah, see that? It's rototilling a little bit. So the whole point of the long story short, it was tough. That winter, I would have been really happy to start construction in August. Would have been perfect. I would have just moved everything up about 2.5 months, and we'd have been. Hydro probably would have. We probably would have had electricity in November rather than January. So all of that would have just made life much easier. Winter construction in Canada is not easy. Like the framers, they're unionized framers in around here. So the guys working on my house were unionized, but I don't know if it was a unionized job or what. I don't know much about it, but their job is to do the framing, not to do snow removal. So I had to do the snow removal, and what we were getting a lot of freezing rain that November, December. So as the framing went up, the tops of the walls had, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch of ice on them after a freezing rain. So I'd have to go there with a pail of salt and a ladder and go up and salt the top of the walls to get the ice to come off so they can continue working, because they couldn't work. They'd take their hammers and they'd break some ice off, but I mean, that wasn't their job. They weren't supposed to do that. And when it snowed, I would go there with a little 2-stroke snowblower, which I do snow removal, so I would go there after working 14 hours on snow and snow blow the snow out through the windows, where the windows go, the openings. And usually I was there at like midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning after working 14, 15 hours. I mean, it was tough. So getting back to my Ryobi set, I just bought the cheap set instead of the DeWalt, which I'm kind of glad I did, because in hindsight, you can still buy batteries. They have lithium-ion batteries now for those Ryobi tools. Back then I had nickel cadmium batteries, which were terrible. And Ryobi's still making the same line of tools. They're green. They don't make the blue ones anymore. Everything I had was blue, like a dark blue. And that's where a sprinkler used to be, right there. See, there's a hole right in front of me. So that's one they dug out. So when I think it was around 6 or 8 years ago now, all my nickel cadmium batteries were kind of toast. They're kind of no good. I was down to like maybe 2 batteries, and then you charge them up, they'd work for maybe 15-20 minutes. If you left them charged on the workbench for a week, you'd go to use them, they'd be dead. So I was really ready to throw the whole set in the garbage, actually. And then I went to Home Depot, and I asked the guy, I said, what are these lithium-ion batteries like? He said, those batteries, if you've got old tools, those batteries work in the old tools. And you just buy a set of these batteries, like you got a brand new tool again. And you have to buy the charger too, so you have to buy a different charger. So that's what I've been doing the last, I think it's about 6 or 8 years now. So all my old tools that I was kind of not using anymore because batteries didn't last anymore, they're still going after 20 years now. It's going to be 20 years this fall, because I bought those tools at the end of the summer or beginning of fall, right before we started construction. And I'm glad I did, because I was doing all kinds of little jobs with my cordless tools I wouldn't have been able to do unless I had a generator or something. I would have to have a generator because there's no electricity on site. Show up there, I think I had 4 batteries. Show up there with 4 batteries, I could actually get something done. And they're still going. So I just bought, about 3 weeks ago, I just bought a hedge trimmer, Ryobi hedge trimmer. I'm riding on top again. Not going very deep. Yeah, it's working a little bit. Okay, let me continue. So I was using my hedge trimmer on the weekend. It's just amazing. You bring an extra battery with you. Gas, there's no starting it, you don't have to shut it off, you just let go of the trigger, it stops. I mean, you know what, battery powered stuff, I'm not crazy about it, but it has its place. It's really, really handy for, I think it's, it was not a very expensive hedge trimmer. I think it was $200, but I mean, it's cordless. I have a couple of electric ones you plug in, but I was like 700 feet from the house. electricity wasn't an option. And then my gas one's always been giving me trouble. The carburetor's gummed up, or something. There's always something wrong with it, and it's heavy. I find if I use that thing for 3 or 4 hours, my shoulders are sore for 2 days, 3 days. I'm talking a gas edge trimmer. They weigh about 35 pounds, you know. They're not lightweight. Yeah, maybe not 35, maybe 25 pounds. But 25 pounds, lifting that up over your head all day takes its toll. A little Ryobi 18 volt. I don't know what it weighs, maybe 5 pounds. It's awesome. It looks and operates just like an old Black & Decker from the 1980s, or a quarter Black & Decker, like those orange ones I used. I had a couple of those. I mean, 2 or 3 batteries and off you go. And I'm using it to trim the buckthorn on the trails and around the edge of the property. The buckthorn just keeps growing in and growing in and growing in, and then I just take the mower and I mulch it up. So there's no picking up any branches or anything, twigs. Okay. An hour and 12 minutes. Story time, yeah. Here in about half an hour, 45 minutes. What time is it now? 9 o'clock. So, yeah, I figured 2 to 3 hours. I'm maybe close. I said 3 to 4 hours. I think I'll be probably 3. It's 20 years, it'll be 20 years this fall, since we started construction on the house, and been living there. We moved in 2006, so February, it was on my birthday. It took a little over a year. We should have waited a little longer. I think I had a friend of mine tell me, don't move in until everything's done. Whatever you do, don't move until everything inside the house is finished. So, he was right. We should have done that. We had all our baseboard and trim to do. I think the stairs were just rough spruce stairs. We planned to build oak stairs, oak railing, oak banisters, oak railings. I think all the hardwood flooring was done, but the baseboard trim, all the carpets were done. We put carpet in the bedrooms. It's just a good option to me. I'm not a big fan of carpet, but so the hallways, hardwood flooring, and then the bathrooms are laminate flooring. All that was done. So we had, I think all the painting was done. I think all the colors were on the walls. But the big thing was the baseboard. I think we had one sink in the whole house. Yeah, that's true too. We only had one sink. And the kitchen sink was the only thing working for the first couple of months. I got the bathroom. Everything in the bathroom was done except for the sink. Yeah, it was tough. 2 little kids. A newborn, like he was born in 2004, so he was a year and a half old when we moved in. About that. our house in our first house was very small. It was only 2 bedroom, and the spare bedroom, the little bedroom for my son, my oldest son, was very small. It was like 9 feet by maybe 12 or 13 feet. So it was very, very small. Not big enough for 2 boys. So we sold that house. We thought about adding on. I think in hindsight would have been smart. Blow out some walls, make the house bigger. I remember we went to the bank to get a line of credit to buy the land where we are now, and the bank they had to assess the house, and they assessed it at a really, really low amount, of like super low, unbelievably low. I don't know why they assessed it so low, which made, and I had been working on it for about 10 years at that time. So we bought the house in 1993, and the assessment was in 2001, I think, or 2000. So it was about 7-8 years. And it was such a low assessment that I thought if we did put an addition on this house, we probably wouldn't even sell it for what it cost to put the addition on it. We'd lose money probably. So our best option was to buy a bigger house or buy land. So we did. We bought land. Man, this thing's just blocking up steady. So by the time they assessed the house in 2000, I think it was 2001. We got our line of credit. We used that money. We used a bit of that line of credit to buy the land. And then I think by the time we sold the house, it was 2005 we sold it. And then they took possession in February 2006. Or maybe it was March. Yeah, it was probably March 1st, 2006 was the day the new owners took possession of the house. So we sold the house for more than double what they assessed the house for. The bank. 2 years before. No, it wasn't 2 years. It's 5 years before. And don't tell me the house can go up 2.5 times value in 5 years. I mean, I've seen it happen now, but back then it was unheard of. The original plan was to keep that house, and it'd be a rental. And I regret that we didn't do that, but at the same time, I was working so many hours. I didn't want to manage a house, a rental property. On top of I remember there was one night there, one day, I got a phone call from my wife saying the furnace is making an awful noise. I had been working on snow removal for like 15 hours, and I think that was the day I decided. I said, that's it, we're selling this house. I said, something, that kind of an emergency call, the furnace, for a tenant would be like priority one, drop everything and go and fix it. So it turns out it was a bad bearing in the blower, and it was the pulley had gotten loose, and it was like banging, bang, 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 because I think the pulley was spinning around and the set screw was hitting the shaft, and it was wobbling around or something like that, and the sound just transmits through the whole house because it's a forced air furnace. So I told her, go turn the switch off for the furnace. I told her where it was. We'll turn it off, and then when I get home, I'll look at it. Meanwhile, the house is getting cold because that's our main source of heat, is that furnace. So I thought that was the day I decided we're going to sell that place, because if we had tenants and I was out doing 24 hours of snow removal, I would have to deal with that. In hindsight, I wish I would have kept it, because I think it would have been a great rental unit for one of my sons. They could be living in it right now, and I'd be collecting rent from them. So, you know, or sell the house to one of them, you know, that sort of thing. It's a great starter home. Had a little garage. I fixed up the garage. The inside of the house is really nice. I don't think about it very often. The fact that I sold it, in hindsight, I would have kept it. I would have been way better. I'd probably be retired right now. Anyway, what's done is done. Get this done. We don't have to go that much further. See that? Just a little tiny bit left here. About 40 feet wide by 100 feet long. I'd say. Yeah. And a little spot down there I gotta do. Small spot. It should take about 15 minutes to do that. This thing is just like struggling to get through this. So yeah, that's what we did back in 2004. We bought the property. 2001 we bought the property. We should have built a house right away. 2002. We had a lot of stuff we had to do. We had to pick a plan. We had to clear that entire property was just a forest of mostly buckthorn, junky. There were some nice trees, but mostly junk wood. So the first thing I did was, I think the summer of either the fall of 2001 or the spring of 2002, summer of 2002, I cleared some paths with a chainsaw, and I just went in there and made some little trails, because you could not walk anywhere on that property. We had our son, our oldest son was in a little backpack, and he would get branches in his face. So the only thing we would do was make paths. So that we could walk around and try and get an idea of where we're going to build a house. Yeah, it was quite the process. There's a lot of stuff we had to do. Then I think by 2003, either 2002, I put the culvert in. I have pictures of that. When we put the culvert in. And then we started building a driveway. And the house is about 500 feet, I should measure, 500 to 600 feet from the road. So the driveway is 500 to 600 feet. It kind of curves. So a straight line is probably more like 450. But it's quite the driveway. It took like 75, 80 loads of rock to build that driveway. 2 feet, about a foot and a half, 2 feet thick. So we couldn't even build a house until we built a driveway in there. And it was a day I had a bunch of guys with me, and we had a crew cab truck, and we were out working, and I'm driving along, and they were digging a trench to put in a gas line on one of the main roads that I drive on. We're going to do a job, and they've been working there for about a week, maybe 2 weeks. So they came to a spot where they hit rock. So I got out. I stopped the truck with one-way traffic because they're blocking one lane at that point, like for a couple hundred feet. I stopped the truck in the lane, right the only lane there was. I got out and I talked to the foreman, and there's cars honking their horns at me. I didn't care. I had a crew cab with a 24-foot trailer behind it. I mean, there's nowhere to park this thing. So I got out, I talked to the foreman. I said, what are you doing with that rock? And he said, oh, I got people that want that rock. I said, yeah, but he said, how far are they? Like, I said, you can see my property from here. It's just over there. I pointed in the direction. I said, it's like less than a mile over there. And so I went back. I said, okay, well, this guy's gonna, if I give him my phone number and he thinks about it after I leave, I mean, I just went and got a piece of paper out of the truck, wrote my name and phone number and my address down. And then I gave it to him. And I think within about a half an hour or 45 minutes, he called me and he said, okay, what's your address? And I gave I was written on a piece of paper. I said, go over there. I had a piece of white melamine with a magic marker. I'd written my address because that's the only thing I had that would indicate. If the culvert was in, the driveway was maybe 20, 30 feet long at that time. And it just so happened, I had a bulldozer in the next day, going there the next day to push out the topsoil so we could put the rock down and build the driveway. It's just like everything just lined up. Everything was just, it was just a miracle. I couldn't have been a better timing. So the next day, I think Jeff, the guy in the bulldozer, I called him that night. I said, we're gonna get some loads of rock tomorrow. I said, I'll give you the foreman's phone number. You can talk to him in the morning. He's gonna send some trucks with rock, dump trucks. I think by the end of that day, Jeff had a little bit of time to push the topsoil out of the way, big piles, and he had 80 loads of rock, about 75, 80 loads of rock leveled off. I mean, I could drive right to where our house is now. At that time, we kind of decided where we're going to build a house, so that had to be all decided, because your driveway's got to go to where your house is. Kind of had a rough area. I cleared, I think by then I had a half an acre of land cleared for the house, less than half an acre. But we knew we were going to build a house, and I had it kind of staked out where the road would go, so everything worked out perfect that day. It was like a miracle. That was one of the happiest days that year to me. It was like right on. That was 2000. What was that? 2001. That would have been 2003 probably. My wife was pregnant back then. Our youngest son was born 2004, so this was way before construction started. So we were about 50 feet short of getting to where the garage doors would be on the house. 50, maybe 30 feet, I don't know. And the end was really rough because it was some big rocks, but no like loose stuff, no shale or anything. So you couldn't really drive the full length, but the road was kind of there now. All of a sudden, and on top of that, we had my wife wouldn't, because of the stress of having 2 young kids to take care of and stuff, she did not want to be the project manager on this building a house. She just thought it was too much. She was working full time. We're both working full time. I had a really demanding, busy job. She was working, and 2 kids. One kid back then. She was pregnant for our second son. And she said, unless we hire somebody to manage this project, I don't want to do it. And I don't blame her. I said, yeah, I agree. That's the way to do it. So the guy that we hired to manage the construction, to put it nicely, he was he was useless. He was not a good manager. I don't know what he did that really helped us, but the one thing he did say to her before we even started construction was, the road's going to cost $10,000. In rock, and like worst case scenario, if you had to buy 80 loads of rock to build that driveway, that's what it would have. It might have cost that. I don't know. I really don't know how it would have cost that. But if I didn't get the 80 loads from that guy doing the gas line, I would have got it from somewhere else, and I would have got it for next to nothing. I would not have paid $100 a load, $200 a load. I might have paid $20 a load. Usually, you get it from somebody who's got to get rid of rock. If you're putting in sewer, a water line, a sewer line, a gas line, you cannot backfill with rock. So it's very easy to get rock. It's one of the easier things to get. So we were able to get 80 loads at that time, and then we did a second, after we'd been living there for a little while, we needed to make a road to where the barn is right now, and we got another, I think total we got about 250 loads of rock. So all around the barn, inside the barn, because it's the floor is level with the outside ground, there's no basement in the barn, so it all had to be filled with rock. So all outside the barn is rock, because if you got hay wagons coming, you don't want to be sinking. If it rained for 2 weeks, and then you got a hay wagon come in, it can't sink in mud, so you got to have rock underneath where the hay wagons are parked. All around all four sides of the barn is rock, and then there's 6 inches of topsoil or 5 inches of topsoil. So in total, I think we got over 1,000 loads of fill, rock, and anything else we can get our hands on. And I think it took about 4 or 5 years to get all that. So you'd get like 50 or 100 loads at a time. Yeah, what time is it now? It's 9:30. We're really trucking here, man. This is looking pretty good. We only have that little strip to do. Just that little bit right there, and then that's the finish line. We got a little piece to do down there. So what we're doing is rototilling sod on a golf course. If you're just tuning in, I got 2 thumbs up, and I got nobody watching at the moment, but a lot of people came in, watched for a minute or two, and then left. But if you watch this entire video, you'll hear all these stories. So what was I getting at? Because we were short 30 or 40 or 50 feet from the garage doors, what's the first thing you do when you build a house? I'm asking you guys, what is it? Well, the first thing is you dig the foundation and you pour a footing. Then you pour your foundation. So those 3 steps, I think somewhere along the way, I think it was the foundation. It was not the footing, because I was there the day they poured the footing, and it was a dry day. It was not raining or anything, but I think the day they came to pour the foundation, it takes multiple trucks, because it is a big house. The garage there's another spot where the sprinkler was right there in that hole. See that hole right there? So they dug them out, and then they just left the hole. It was not a big deal. So we're probably going to hit a wire here. So the trucks, when they came to do the footing, was fine, no problem. They used a crane, actually. They poured it into a bucket, and then they used a crane to lift this cement bucket, and it's got a door on the bottom. It's kind of a V-shaped bucket. You just open a door on the bottom, and the cement pours out, and you just move it along, and you fill your footing. And then when the foundation was done. I think it rained a little bit or something, and the trucks started sinking. So I should have scouted around for more rock. We ended up having to get a stone slinger come in, and they buy 3/4 clear stone, which is the most expensive stone you can buy, and they just put it where the tires are going to go on the truck. So we had to make damn sure the cement truck was not going to get stuck. I wasn't there that day. I think there was a pump truck, a big pump truck. It's like a crane also, but it pumps cement through a tube. And then, talking about building my house in 2004, so the truck started sinking and getting stuck. The stone slinger cost me like $600 for some stone. They fired it around there, and then the cement trucks didn't get stuck. In the end, it worked out fine. It cost me a little money, but that was okay. It's not that big a deal. I think at that time the foundation was, I didn't dig very deep because it's a very high water table on that property, and anybody that's ever built a house around there, they all do the same thing. They dig a 5 or 6 foot hole, and they put your foundation down in the ground, way down deep in the ground, and then you've got sump pumps for the rest of your life. Whenever the power goes out, your basement can flood. So I didn't want that. So we just scraped the topsoil off, and I think at one end of the house was like less than 12 inches, and the other end might have been like 18 inches. I can't remember. To solid clay. And then we poured our footing right on that, and we went up from there. So when the foundation was all poured, it was like literally 6 feet over your head, 6 or 7 feet over your head. So that's where I needed I needed a lot of fill. I remember when I had the old loader there. We had an old loader we used to use on snow removal, and I parked it there for when I was building. And that thing would fire up on any day of the year. It didn't even need to be plugged in. So then we're talking November. We started this in October. By November, it was starting to get cold. That thing would fire up, and I pushed all the any fill that I did have up to the foundation to try and bury it a little bit. So it was like a 45-degree slope up to where the guys could actually, the framers could put the main floor on the floor joist and then the floor. So they had to walk up like a hill to get it was pretty crazy. And then during that winter, I think we just kept getting more and more loads of stuff. I was moving fill all winter that winter. That's some pretty crazy stories. Out there in the pouring rain, moving fill, moving loads. I wish I had more pictures. I wish I had video of that. It's just nuts. Yeah, maybe we'll just end this video any minute there. Because it's been going for over an hour now. An hour and 40 minutes. Coming up on an hour and 40 minutes right now. So I hope everyone's doing okay out there. It's beautiful weather. We're having really nice weather, not too hot. It just rained a little bit Sunday night, that was all. It's supposed to be nice all week. What we're doing is stripping the sod off this fairway. It's an old golf course fairway. There was golfers playing golf on this last year. So this was one of the holes, one of the 18 holes. And we're going to pile the sod up, and then they're going to take about 11-12 inches of topsoil underneath the sod, screen it, and bring it over to the other fairway and spread it on there. It's very labor intensive though. This is just the first step of many steps. There's going to be a bulldozer coming in here tomorrow or Wednesday. Either tomorrow or Wednesday. One day this week. It might even be later. If they can get done where they are. And then they're gonna pile this sod somewhere out of the way. It's a reject material. It's not, I don't know why, but it's no good for anything. Strip the topsoil. I think they're gonna make windrows of topsoil. And then we got a screener coming in. And it's gonna screen the topsoil, load it in dump trucks, and move it to the other side. It has to go on the road. So this stuff will be on the golfers are going to be playing in 2 years. It's probably going to be 2 years before they open that. It takes about 1.5 years for the grass to grow in on a green to be able to use it. So in 2 years' time, the same golfers are going to be playing on this fair. What they've done is we built 5 holes a couple of years ago. The last 2 years, 3 years, and those 3 of those holes are open right now. The 4th and 5th one are not being used right now. They will be opened, I think, at the same time. These 2 we're building this summer are going to open, which is not for. Yeah, it's quite the process. It's like a 7-year project, I think. It's going to take 7 years from when they started till when all 5 holes, no, 7 holes, open up for the golfers to play on. About 7 years. So a little mouse running ahead of me there. You see him in the grass? Right there. He's gonna come out of the grass there any minute because there's no grass left up ahead. Could be a mole. Crows around, they come and grab them usually. He doesn't want to go staying in the grass. He can hear me coming. There he goes. See him? There he is. It's the mouse. Okay, I'm going to end the video right here. Thanks for watching.